uh, a precious friend of mine, whenever uh, they answer the phone, he says, "Good day." And he speaks better English than a lot of people do with perfect English, but he still says "good day" and "good night" when you get on the phone. Anyway, um, so many things are happening right now in this nation. There are people who hate both sides. There are people who are not taking sides. There are people who know what this country needs, and because of personality, they think, well, they're not going to go there. Well, when you have someone that God has given all the answers to, then my belief is you need to take what God sends. Because if you don't, you're going to be a very sorry person, because we live in a very dangerous hour. That one news media man that was fired today, and I'm not talking about the one on CNN, the one that was fired from the other news media. They asked him, what would you say is the most important thing in life today for anybody? And he said, let your loved ones know you love them. Tell them often that you love them, because you don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. Now, this man knows far more than we know, and this is why they kicked him off. And because he's telling far more, because he feels that we need to know the truth. There's a lot of people that are going to be taken unawares. I mean, in total shock. And there's a lot of people that are thinking about running and thinking about doing this. And I'm telling you, what worked for them last year, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, will not work this time. And I'll tell you why. God is coming on the scene. And so when you think that you are going to play games with God and you're going to use your campaign, like the one that is campaigning, but he doesn't have the guts to say he's campaigning. How in the world is he going to ever face world leaders when he can't even face someone? Oh, he can behind this other person's back. He can mistreat him. He can do all kinds of things, but he can't face him to say, I'm running. And, it's amazing to me how cowardly people are. And what we need is someone to have a backbone to stand up, but not to cause. I mean, you take a look at all the things that are happening at the same time. And now there's another country that they're pulling people out of. And the last one was a disaster because the way they did it. And I don't see that they're doing this one any much better, because apparently the people in charge think they can do anything. Nobody is held accountable. Nobody. They can do anything. And unfortunately for them, when it comes to God, everybody is held accountable. Everybody is going to face him. And maybe perhaps some of them sooner than they think. But there is nobody who is going to escape facing the Lord. God only puts up with things for a certain season. And he even tells us why. He tells us because, like the martyr said, how long are you going to let this go on? And he said, until the other ones are martyred. So he wants the full package of allowing them to totally destroy everything and be caught right in the middle of it, because this is what's going to happen right in the middle of it. There's not going to be any question. See, when God starts to deal, you think, well, we're going to try the spirits, we're going to figure it. All of you have been playing. It's all playing games. I'm not talking just about uh, the the leaders of the country. I'm not talking about just the leaders of the church. I'm not talking about the leaders in the home. Uh, I'm not talking about any particular one of you, but all of you in the air have been listening to the prince of the air in when it comes to destroying and hatred. You know how people can listen to propaganda that feeds hatred for one individual and not wake up and see, hey, you know what? Something's wrong. They want me. And then you wind up hating them and then you blame them. Wow. Wow. I'm so glad that the Lord had found a way to reach his children, that the true believers in Christ know better. They know that that's propaganda. They know that they're not supposed to hate anybody. Even the ones that are doing all the evil right now, I don't hate one of them. You know, we're supposed to be praying that if there's any way possible that God can lead them to repentance, that God do it. And if you're not praying that way, if you don't realize that this is your job, this is what you're supposed to do. A young man, and he's a precious young man, and he's preached before. And I think he's about 32, and he was once married. And he is suffering a great deal of persecution right now. And he said he remembered my testimony. And this is what I've told him: when you are suffering persecution, how you want delivered for God to come quickly and deliver you is keep this mouth shut. Don't go to your pastor. Don't go to your pastor's wife, your fellowship friends. Don't go to anybody and tell them what is being done to you, who said what and how. Don't do it. Don't go to anybody in your heart, in your mind, and believe, well, that's evil, that's wrong, they shouldn't this. None of that. When I suffered persecution, and the Lord turned practically all of them around, and just turned them around till they come up to me and said, God showed me you're a Christian, crying for what they did to me. And that conviction would never have come had I used my mouth to cry, oh, so and so's hurt me, and so is doing this, and so said that. And so, no. Mm-mm. I didn't have to be ashamed among people who should be ashamed of themselves. I was able to put my head up, not high like this, but up, and walk among them and know and understand that they were messing with God, not me. They weren't messing with my life. They were messing with his life in me. And that makes the story entirely different. And therefore, because of that, I wouldn't even take them to God because I was afraid of the spanking they might be more than they can bear. For the destruction was in their tongues and in their ways, and the hatred that they had, unreasonable, from traveling from this one to that one to this one. And this is happening today. This is what people are doing when it comes to a person's character and personality. They assassinate it. Now, I'm not talking about the evidence of what they've done, like finding a computer that tells them everything and how bad it is. That's evidence. Okay, I'm not talking about the catching them in these things where you see the videos where the hand is laying on a little 9 or 12-year-old girl and she's going like this to try to move his hand off of her chest that's coming down here. You know, she's very uncomfortable, and everything is done in plain sight. And this is what they love to do. They love to do everything in plain sight. And I just recently saw a young woman who was very militant, and she was in a competition, and you could see her eyes and her countenance that even people who don't even see those things said, wow, is that woman angry? She was enraged. It was like, you better pick me, because if you don't, you're going to pay. And I'm sitting there, well, they picked her all right. And I thought, wow, what a horrible way to earn whatever it is you're after. What a terrible thing to do, to know you're not better than anybody else. You're not. Why should you be picked? If you're not better, why you? You know, it doesn't matter. Skin color, Asian, white, black. It don't matter. That don't matter. What matters is whatever you're able to do, whatever skill you have. If you can, if you can compete in that skill. But boy, when you see the eyes, the hatred in promising you better, and then you see some of them just so filled. One in particular, just filled with witchcraft. I mean, you couldn't prove, you couldn't even get away from it. And I remember the debates between uh, a new uh, person that wasn't a politician and between that woman that is now saying she's a witch. And I remember no one knew she was a witch at that time. And I remember her coming out on stage, and I felt all the witchcraft that my grandmother had wrapped up right in that awful woman. And she's today in politics, and people love. She's a member of their party. People just love her. People just love so and so. I mean, the state I live in has been literally deserted by the man who was claiming to be the best. He showed everybody that he was as good as so and so, and he could run. Well, I've got news for him. He's going to run all right, but he's not going to run to the office he's looking for, because you don't do that. You don't imitate somebody, impersonate them, and use all of politics to get higher. You do not climb on the backs of people that need you. And this is a shame, because this man could have been really good for this particular, and he seemed to be for a while. But I'm not mentioning any names. I'm not telling you about anything you don't already know, but I am mentioning on how God sees all this. God is not pleased with what people are doing. There's many people on both sides doing and saying the wrong things. Many people. But you have to weigh the situation to understand which is hated more. What is hated more? To cut up a baby and sell its body parts, to change the amount uh, to from two to say there's many more and force it on little babies, force in the classroom, sexual preference to little kids in kindergarten, use uh, people that are dressed up opposite of who they are, and have them sit and read to the children like as if it's normal to be this way. I mean, there was a time in America we knew better. We knew better than these things, and I lived through those times where there was pride in America. And like I said, there was a time where the soldiers, you know, I can remember someone in another nation saying, "I'm sick of America uh, making such a big deal of their soldiers dying." Well, there's a time we cared. And now a traitor goes off, and other soldiers get killed trying to find him. And there he is with the enemy, and he's converted to the enemy and comes home, and the person sitting in office gives him a medal. Why? Because he's a certain religion. This is sick. This is literally sick. And then that you have the frauds that pretend they're something they're not, who do everything. And then you have the power to be able to destroy a marriage, a marriage that if the woman was not such a great woman of God, I'm telling you, her everything would have gone down the tubes, because she'd have believed all the pictures and all the lies. But you see, she's got more in her heart. She's got more class and more understanding. You could take those others, and you can put them on the cover of Vogue, and you can dress them up as old as they are, as teenagers and wearing the same kind of stockings and leggings and all this other stuff. You could do that, and you could put lipstick on them when you know they should never be wearing lipstick. But you can do all of that, but you still, in the end, have them. So you can get this crowd that hates America, that hates along with them, because that's what they've stirred up. They've stirred up and strummed the chords of emotional hatred is what they've done. So they've got this one turned on this one, and this one hates this one, and it's like this all the time. And so then you have the idiots who will not vote the way they need to make sure things don't happen to the children in this country. And they go, well, I hate them both. I don't want them both. So they're going to pick somebody that'll just completely do worse than the one that's in office. There's something wrong with your thinking. There's something wrong with the fickle mindedness that one day you're with this them and the next way you're you know, uh, evil is evil, wrong is wrong, lies are lies, death is death, war is war. It's, you call a spade a spade. You tell the truth on it. And when you tell the truth, you get persecuted, you get hated, you get uh, you get kicked off your station, all because you exposed the truth. Well, I'm not in the place that I could use names because God told me don't. Because then it would be entering into accusing people, and I can't do that because I am not a news media person. I am not. I'm not anybody, and I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm giving you what God gave me today to say to you, in the hopes to guide your mind to see how futile it is to put somebody and actually vote for them when you know the path they're going to take is evil, because you're not going to be able to wash your hands of the blood of all those children. You're not. That blood is going to be on your hands, and you can't say, well, he did it, I didn't know it. Not in this day, because you know how to find it. Oh, I know. There are media that told you, oh, don't go on the internet. It's evil. It's a, listen to us. Listen to us. Do you know how many scams that you could hear? Well, it comes to vitamin. Don't take this kind. Don't take that. Come to us and we'll sell you the right thing. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. Eat this. It will sell you the right thing. They're all doing the same exact thing. Don't listen to this preacher. Don't listen to that one. We'll sell you the right thing. Give to us. Give to us. This is what we'll do. We're going to do it the right way. And this is, this is in every single walk of life. This isn't just something that happened overnight. They've been working hard for years. I told you, as a teacher, they did this in a state that I was in, where they wanted to bus the children and keep them in the schools all week, and the parents not get them till the weekends. What were they going to do with those children? What were they going to teach them when they said they wanted to do away with reading and writing and arithmetic? What what were they? Oh, it was going to be social skills. And some you parents are really stupid because you allow it. You've left your children to be dumped off at school so you could have your parties, you could have your time, you could get together with the girls, you could get together with the guys, and you don't have to worry about a thing. All the while, they're being destroyed because you're not a parent. All the while. But you look at the ones that are forcing operations on their children to change them as from who they are, and you think, oh, how evil that is. But you're just as bad, because you're not caring about nothing but you, and you don't care about like the one I still think about, how awful a person it is that would say, we have no future, God's coming to save us, and so therefore it doesn't matter. Okay, let those kids rot, let those kids suffer, anything. No pity, no compassion, no wisdom, no understanding. Just, I'm taken care of. We're going to be okay. God says he's coming back for us. Oh my goodness. There's a shock coming for you, lady. There is a shock coming for those of you that think you're safe, that you could live in a country that you allow all of these atrocities, and there's only one that's trying to bring them down and stop them. But oh no, hey, certain guys on the media says he's this and he's that. Well, they know. They've been telling you lies for years, but they know. Oh no, dear, no. That's not the way it goes. This time, you're going to answer. This time, you're going to be very afraid. You're going to be where no fear was. You're going to be looking over your shoulder. Because if you can destroy others and think that these other things that are happening by accident, a war over here, or it's all happening because it's all pre-planned. So if you think that everything's going to be all right, don't think that. Oh, don't think that. I told you before, when you pray the fear of God on somebody, the first person is going to be afraid is you. When you pray for God to deal with somebody and hurt them because you think they committed adultery or you think they did this, when you pray that way, the first place God's going to visit is you. I told you, I warned you. I said, don't pray that way. No, you think that you have the power to reach out your hand and bind somebody only on what you heard on the media. That's gossip. That's opinions. That's lies. If they weren't lies, they wouldn't be pounding it to your head day in and day out. They're not trusting in the truth and telling you the truth. The truth doesn't have to be pounded. Only the propaganda, only the lies. They're scared to death you're going to figure it all out. And you haven't disappointed them a bit.